In a very early draft of the script, I pretty much had the ending of the film as it was released. But when it got closer to the shoot, there were two things that kind of weighed against that ending. One was a budget issue. It was deemed too expensive to shoot, to have this big devastated city. And the other was, it was felt that it would be too depressing to kind of see the city overrun with the undead. So I wrote and we shot a completely different ending, which is a more up ending, which is 6 months after the incident at the Hive. You know, Mila's now wearing a different costume and she's become this kind of kick-ass Avenger who's hunting down the Umbrella Corporation, looking for Matt, who's been taken off, mutating. And she's gone looking for him and she walks into Umbrella headquarters.
It's been 6 months since the Hive. I got out, but Matt didn't. I know that they're still holding him, experimenting, studying him. I've never given up, I've never stopped looking.
Can I help you?
Oh, I hope so.
And the idea was we'd have this rocket shoot at camera and then kind of freeze, and then the front of the rocket would just split apart and you'd see lots of mini rockets inside, like smart rockets, that would each go for an individual target. And then suddenly we go back into real time and the rockets would go and like nail each of these guys. So it was quite a cool ending, but it was smaller and it was definitely more up because, you know, it was a very action-y ending and she was kicking ass. But you know what, we looked at it and it just never felt right. You know, it just tied everything up too neatly. It felt like action was starting and what you really wanted to see was like a big fight or something, but then suddenly the movie was stopping. And I think, you know, when you write scripts, you know, you write an ending for a reason, you know, it feels right. And, you know, this happens quite often, is you go and you change it and then eventually, it doesn't matter what you change it to, it never feels right and you go back to what you originally had, and that's what we did. And it was a bit of a risk because it's a pretty depressing ending. You know, everyone's dead. And it's one girl alone in a city of the undead. And I love it because for me, it's very reminiscent of movies I love from the 70s. You know, people used to end movies like that all the time in the 70s. It used to be great. They used to have these really bleak, grim endings. Like the original Charlton Heston version of Planet of the Apes, just fantastic ending. But really depressing. The end of Omega Man, for example. But, you know, people were into bleak endings in the 70s, and I think this is a movie that's very influenced by 70s films, and I think it's right that we went for the kind of bleak ending. And I think it really, for me, it really works.